Twin City Sports Talk. I'm Bruce Kramer, and today we are going to be going over just the state of Minnesota sports. Short, quick episode, easy episode. Our four major teams plus the Gophers football season has came to an end. We're awaiting a bowl game bid for wherever they go. Not going to be important for really anything except just another game for Drake Lindsay and the squad there. So we're not going to worry about anything Gophers today. Except I guess the Gophers did pull off a big win in basketball tonight, beating number 22, 7-0 Indiana in an upset at the barn. So good for the Gophers. Good win tonight. But we're going to focus on the four major teams very briefly. Last night, I predicted two games, the Wild and Wolves. Wild against the Oilers and the Wolves against the Pelicans. Wild went in and got a 1-0 win against Edmonton Oilers. Huge win, and yet another shutout for Jesper Wallstedt. What can you not say about the kid? The guy is playing absolutely lights out. Four out of his last 6 starts have been shutouts, and he's been the spark the Wild needed to kind of jumpstart their season. They're now sitting at 15-7-5 in a good position, and they're starting to show more and more, getting healthier too. I shared yesterday Marco Rossi's working his way back, and after that, there's not as many injuries as we had last year. Last year, Kirill was out for a good chunk of the year. It wasn't a good time. But last night, Edmonton did get 33 shots on goal. So Jesper Wallstedt saved 33 shots. Super impressive. But the most impressive thing, Connor McDavid, 1 shot on goal the whole game. Yeah, Hyman and maybe Draisaitl had 3 or 4 each. But if you get, like, you holding Connor McDavid, the best player in the NHL, to 1 shot on net, I mean, right there, winning formula right there. That's all you got to do. And it's pretty obvious because they did pull out the big win last night. The one goal being Jonas Brodin, just throw it towards the net, maybe get a rebound or a redirect, really anything. But it snuck past everyone, went top shelf. That was the one goal from a defenseman in Brodin, assisted by Nico Sturm. Yesterday, I said what I wanted to see the Wild do was stay out of the penalty box because this Edmonton power play unit is top tier, 3rd best in the league. And for the most part, we did that. Ryan Hartman had a Ryan Hartman type period in the second period, having, I think, a hooking and then maybe it was another slash or tripping. It was one of those two. And then Matt Boldy got a weak penalty in the third period, but 3 penalties all game. And you held them on each one, obviously. So it's a great spot to be in. I would have liked to see a bit more from the offense. The defensemen have been playing great for this whole month. I forget what their record is in November now, maybe 11-1-1. Absolutely crazy. What a run they're on right now. Or maybe 11-1-2. I'm not quite sure. But Skinner, Edmonton's goalie, had a good game. The offense only got 24 shots on goal, one of them being that one goal by Brodin. But overall, I mean, another gritty performance, super fast team in Edmonton, and the Wild, for all I watched, which I watched the whole game, and what all I saw was they outskated them, they out-hustled them. For most of the game, I'd say. So there were some parts where Edmonton had a lot of possession and getting a lot of shots, kind of in bunches on net. That's why Wallstedt had to stop 33 shots, and he didn't let one go in. So that's all you can ask out of your rookie goalie. So Wild win 1-0, making me and Trevor's prediction correct last night. Trevor, our score wasn't right. I thought it'd be a higher scoring game, I guess 5-3. But no, they won 1-0. A win's a win. That's all I care about. All right, moving on to a weirder team. Minnesota Timberwolves. New Orleans Pelicans, 3-18 going into this game. The worst team in the NBA by every statistical category, really, all put together. The eye test, they are terrible in every way. The Pelicans are. The Wolves should have won this game by 30 points, but they seem to not show up at all for these smaller games. The Sacramento game, you lose to the Suns without Devin Booker. Then they still won the game. I will say this right now. They still won The final score, a whopping 149 to 142, because the Wolves kind of just took over in the overtime period. Overtime was super fast, bucket after bucket, really no stoppages of play, to be honest. New Orleans has no one really playing. Their top three scorers were hurt. I guess Murphy was back last night, but Zion and Jordan Poole being out for them, plus a few others on their team. The team has no reliable scorers at any time. The Wolves' defense was terrible this game, and I keep harping on Julius Randle. Again, just like last year, he shows a lack of effort on the defensive side of the ball, and he is showing nothing to say that he's trying it all on D. Like, and on offense, he's slow. He doesn't work in a system. He'll get the ball. He'll back someone. He'll back someone down. Hit a fadeaway. He's a good scorer, yes, but it's just it's you don't see anything else from him. He can shoot the ball. He can back someone down. But against we saw it in the playoffs last year, and then we saw it against OKC about a week ago. The guy cannot compete in a high, like a fast-paced game. OKC they pride themselves on being fast, getting turnovers, fast break points. Julius Randle, he's not made for that. He doesn't try. He's not. I mean, it's pretty glaring obvious. Like, he doesn't try to get down the court fast. He doesn't get back on defense. On defense, he's sluggish. Jaden McDaniels didn't have a good night defensively until the very end when he said, "Oh man, we're going to lose to the worst team in the league. Let's get it going." Anthony Edwards had, I think, 44 points. Anthony Edwards is now, I think that's his sixth straight game with 30 points. He's been on a tear, but he's just had really no help. Granted, we are on a 3-game win streak: Boston, San Antonio, without Castle or Victor Wembanyama. And I mean, it's wins. You got to take the wins when you can get them, but the win last night was absolutely embarrassing, like super embarrassing. You should never, ever even be close. The OKC Thunder would have won this game by 45 points because they come into every game saying, "Oh my gosh, we are the best team in the league." And I'm not saying the Wolves are the best team in the league, or they might be a few more teams than people think down the list. But you need to come in saying you're going to smoke them and take care of business. And guess what? They get to do that tomorrow night again. They play in the same place. They took a night off tonight, and then they get to play the Pelicans again. And if they don't come out and win by 20 or more, this will be one of the most embarrassing 2 games. I don't even care if they win. Like, it will be one of the most embarrassing 2 games they will play this year. This is the easiest team you will play this year. If we when we play the Pelicans in March or April, they're going to be healthier most likely than they are now. That means they're a better team than they are right now. This team is so injury rattled. This team stinks either way. Everything points to you beating by 35, but you just didn't do it. You almost lost. You honestly should have lost with how you played. But even playing terrible like you did last night, you still found a way to win because it's the Pelicans. So that just goes to show you that it's a 3-19 team now. But now the Wolves, they sit at 13-8. Imagine if they won that game against the Suns and won that game against the Kings, we'd be sitting here at 15-8. 15-6. You'd feel a lot better than that than 13-8 right now. But that's where you are because sometimes you don't come to play. And it's simple. When you don't do that, you're not going to win in the playoffs. You're not going to be productive throughout a whole series. That's as simple as it is. All right. Again, tomorrow, like I said, they play the Pelicans at 7:00. The Wild continue their Canada trip of 3 games. The first one was Edmonton. The second one, they're traveling to Calgary to play the 9-15 and 4 Calgary Flames. And if I'm not mistaken, Calgary came away with a win the last time they played, or I think the Wild, I forget. I need to check that because the Wild played them I think at the start of November 9th, the Wild won 2-0. Yes, because that was Jesper Wallstedt's first shutout. Yes, how could I forget? First of 4 this year. Some goalies aren't even going to get 4 the whole year. So what he's doing right now, amplify that because it is maybe the most impressive thing in the year. Going back to Jack's hot take on one of the full episodes last week, he said Jesper Wallstedt will be in the running for the Vezina Trophy. I mean, I think that's and maybe even heating up more. He might not, he's going to drop off at some time. He has to. It's just how sports go sometimes, or most of the time. But if he keeps up this shutout streak that he's on, I think he could be sitting maybe in that conversation, which is just crazy as a rookie. And a rookie who played a few games last year and looked very lost. Like he had a lot of stuff going on. He had some mental issues last year where he was working through, but it's awesome to see Jesper Wallstedt performing like he is. Just awesome. All right, next up, real quickly, we gotta go through the Minnesota Vikings real quick. Injury status, they're looking good right now. JJ McCarthy in line to start again this week against another barnstorm of a team, the Washington Commanders. It's a chance to get a win, but at this point, in my opinion, I'd almost rather lose because you can just build up that draft capital. Yeah, it's tanking and you're not supposed to. They're going to obviously go for the win because I did see today they're not technically out of the playoff picture. It's like a 0.1% chance you're not making the playoffs. And I'd like to see JJ play well, but if at all possible, lose the game, get a higher draft pick. Maybe like seriously, if the Vikings can get a top 5 draft pick, my biggest guy in the draft that I want is Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame. I keep talking about him. He's a generational talent. He should be sliding down to around 10. If you get a top 5 pick, you could indefinitely trade to a team that's around 8, 7, 8, 9, and then you could get another haul back because trading into the top 5 is one of the most spendy things you can do in the NFL. Draft night. And I think Kwesi, if he could play his cards right, which everyone knows Kwesi's been hot garbage with his drafts. And Trevor and I went through it the other day, went through the entire KOC regime and went through it piece by piece on how bad it has been in the drafts. But if he can trade back and get 2 other picks within say you have pick 4, okay? And then say there's a quarterback needy team at 8 who the quarterback, maybe it's Fernando Mendoza or Ty Simpson. These guys aren't going to probably fall to 8 or 9. You trade back, and then you could also gain probably a 3rd and 5th rounder. I'd have to look back at other drafts, but I think you could get 2 extra picks just by trading back 4 spots in the first round. I mean, for God's sake, the Vikings put on the table 3 first-round picks and Danielle Hunter for the number 3 pick to select Drake May, and New England said no. That's how much the NFL, or that's how it's so hard to explain, but you need to be able to give so much. I mean, they could get another first-round pick out of it. Either way, I want Jeremiah Love, but so I kind of want the Vikings to lose this weekend and kind of lose the rest of the year, build up that draft capital if you can, if at all possible. I just want to see JJ play well because the Vikings are probably going to go out and get a veteran to either probably start next year because of KOC and maybe his patience level is just not very high. We don't know. They have said JJ is going to be the starter next year and they're going to run through him, but you never know what can go on in an offseason. Mac Jones is going to be a trade bait off of how good he's played for the Niners. A lot of different things the Vikings could do, but a lot of it depends on the win-loss record for them, and a lot depends on the draft. So that's all, everything that's going around in that part of the Minnesota Vikings talk. Very, very loosey-goosey on that end. People want different things from this team right now. All right. Last team right now, we got the Minnesota Twins. Minnesota Twins are also in a bad spot. It sounds like a broken record saying it right here, but another team with a horrible ownership. I'm not saying the Vikings are going to have a bad ownership right now, but the Twins right now are in a spot where they are trying to trade everyone and get everyone off the payroll. I'm going to be doing an episode in the next few days, maybe with Jack or Trevor, or maybe both, with how much the Twins are wanting to spend going into next year. And if they were to trade Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, Byron Buxton, Ryan Jeffers, these are the 4 highest paid guys on your team. And if you were to trade them, you would be like 20 million in payroll for next year. Now, I don't know if they would go sign guys or just go into next year saying, we don't care. But the news is the Yankees are very in hot pursuit of a Joe Ryan Jeffers trade. And I'll get into more details. I'm just going to briefly go over the things right now. The Yankees originally were looking at Pablo Lopez, but they'd also like Joe Ryan, cheaper deal, team control for 2 more years. And then Byron Buxton, like I said yesterday in yesterday's episode, he has opened up the idea to waiving his no trade clause to be traded to a contender. And that's what I guess I would want to see for him, because I don't want to see him suffer on a 48-win team. But a lot of Twins trade rumors. Obviously, everyone knows that's going on. But tomorrow or the next day, we're going to be digging in way more to that. Okay. And we're going to be also digging into more college football stuff. We got all the conference championships this weekend: Ohio State and Indiana, Georgia, Alabama, the classic SEC championship game right there. And then a bit of a surprise in the ACC, Virginia and Duke being at 7-5. Crazy that they're in over teams like Miami. But we're going to be getting into more of those kind of predictions with those. A lot of good content coming up. But this was just a state of Minnesota sports right now, and it's not going well for a lot of teams. The Wild, a lot of positives there, but really for everyone else, I'd say we've hit a very big low. But we're going to work to get ourselves out of it. You're going to have a lot of content from Twin City Sports Talk here. And for that, like I said, I'm Bruce Kramer. Twin City Sports Talk. We'll be back at you in a few days. Subscribe to the YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, everything that you can find us on. Love the support, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.